This video will provide some examples of how people can manipulate statistics, something that we often trust as more objective than opinion or something else similar to that. So here is how we can manipulate statistics. Okay, one second, I'll share the screen. Here it is. So, unethical persuasion, logical fallacies, manipulating statistics. Here's an example. This is a dog bird research company. Have you ever been killed by a poorly designed product? Oh no. Great. So my tainted research shows that your products haven't killed anyone. For an extra 50,000, I can call in a second person. I don't want to jinx it. So there are several problems with this scenario. First of all, the question is, have you been killed? Asking a living person pretty much predicts what the answer is going to be. Second one, we are looking at the sample of 1, which is pretty small. So this is not a really good example of conducting research. Okay, so let's look what we have next. Next we have, and let me look at showing this example here. So there is something different. Let's say ways to lie, cheat, manipulate, and mislead with averages. And the example here, and you can follow the links in the PowerPoint if you're curious. You can look for more examples that are provided by this particular source. So in case you were a real estate agent and you were trying to convince people to move into a particular neighborhood, you could, with kind of perfect honesty and truthfulness, but see, truthfulness is in quotation marks, so it's not quite truthful to say that, but okay, so you can tell different people that the average income in the neighborhood is $150, $35, or $10,000. How is it possible that 3 different answers are all correct? It might not be possible in mathematics, but it is possible in statistics because there are different averages. Okay, so if you look at what statistics considers average, is the mean, arithmetic mean of incomes of all of the families in the neighborhood, you might come to 150,000 figure. We'll look at the particular people's salaries in the next slide. The 35,000 is the median, which means there are just as many people making more than this salary as people who make less than that. And then 10,000 figure is the mode, which means that's another so-called average in statistics. It means that the most people have this salary. So this particular neighborhood is lucky enough to be near a cliff, and one home with an ocean view is a giant mansion of 50 acres, and it's opened by a Hollywood star with gates, spikes, and security. So how does it work? So there's one celebrity making almost $4.5 million a year. Then there are 5 professionals making 150,000 each. There are 14 people making 50,000 each. There's one person making 35, and see these numbers that were in the previous slide are highlighted in red here. And then there are 20 people making 10,000 a year. So it looks kind of like a fairly poor neighborhood if we look at the mode. So there are more people than any other group that make 10,000 rather than something more, right? So there's one person that is stuck right in the middle. There are 20 people who make more than him or her, and there are 20 people who make less than him or her. And that also is considered one of statistical averages, right? And so then there is a mean. which is if you add this giant number to everything else and then divide by the number of people, you will come to 150, which is not really a very representative number because this one person is making so much more than everyone else. Okay, so manipulating something like that can lead to fairly unethical arguments, and that is another thing that we need to be careful about. So I'll go back to the presentation here and continue where we stopped. So this is another way of using statistics for shady purposes. So people need to be careful about accepting everything without questioning it. So there's another slide, and I would like to share this video by a mathematics professor. So I will change the screen one more time, and we will go to YouTube, where this professor is giving a public lecture.
Or misleading or misrepresented to us. We'll then talk about some impacts of statistics on society, so some positive ways that statistics is used to impact our world. And then we'll conclude with how you can be a better statistician by Friday. Right?
Okay, so here's a very lofty goal she has to teach people to be a better statistician by Friday. So there's some light-hearted humor there. Okay, so she's showing some examples.
Her book tour has been new support. A new opinion dynamics poll for 2012 shows her on top.
So let's see what that clip actually looked like. So let's go to that graph. Palin was on top, 70%, followed by Huckabee, 63%, followed by Romney, 60%.
Can you tell why the people are laughing?
Can anybody add this up on the spot? I know our Benjamin's not here, so we don't have the math magician, but maybe somebody else can sort of add those numbers up. What was that? 193% of people. Okay, interesting. Interesting way to visualize a pie chart. I've never seen that in my statistical history, but that's interesting. Let's look at another report that comes from Fox News. Did scientists falsify research to support their own theories of global warming? 59% say somewhat likely, 35% very likely, 26% not very likely. I don't make this up. I don't make this up. So this looks like 120%. Okay, maybe they were off a little bit. What's the difference between somewhat likely and not very likely? If it's somewhat likely, are you also somewhat unlikely? Right? And so this information is being presented to sort of lead you into a particular thought process. Right? Did they present theories to falsify their research instead of saying, do you think scientists had enough data to support their claims? Right? So the way that we ask it and the way that we present information is often trying to lead us down a particular thought path. And this is clearly trying to let you believe that, yeah, they probably did some falsification based on this poll. We're not just going to get on Fox, let's get on MSNBC. MSNBC showed the Dow since election day. All right, and these are two different charts that they had on two of their shows. On the bottom chart here, it's got the Dow at election day, the Dow on inauguration day, and then the current Dow that was in March of 2009. And so the commentators were saying, you know, look, this guy Barack, he's look at our Dow, it's going down. You know what's happened? Nothing's changed since he's been in office. Look at the data. The data supports it. There's this downward Dow trend. You know, I agree. Yeah, there is a downward trend. But if we go back, and if you actually look at the Dow since October of 2007, what do you see? Well, you know, we've been going on this trajectory for a while. Right? And so my argument here is not necessarily in support of Barack Obama or, you know, anti-Bush, but what it's saying is that present the entire information, right? So clearly something is meant to be misleading when I only show you the tail end of the chart and I say, you know, something must have happened at this election day point, when that's not true. What happened there had been happening since 2007. And so the take home here is that we really have to be careful how the media portrays information to us, because oftentimes they're trying to convince us one way or the other.
Okay, so the point here is to show you some examples of very shady dealings when people put information into a pie chart that adds up to 183 or 193 percent, which is impossible. Or when something is chopped off at a certain point